everyone, this is Rita with Restyled Renewed. I am a custom furniture painter. So I wanted to talk to you guys about working with metallic paint. I know somebody asked about that, so I just wanted to show you what I do, how I work with it. So this is the metallic paint I usually buy. It's by Modern Masters, and this silver paint is one of my favorite silver paints. You can see it's a super thick paint, so it covers very well. You just need 2 coats, and that is all you need. So it's an amazing silver. And this drawer right here actually has 1 coat on it. Let me just see if I can get a little bit closer to the drawer. That's a silver, 1 coat, so it still needs 1 more coat. And then the other drawers are, that's the first coat of kilns that I put on underneath metallic. But anyways, I wanted to tell you my process for metallic paints, because it is a little bit different than working with chalk paint. So when you paint with metallics, you don't want your base to be chalk paint, because once you put on your paint and once you put on the sealer that goes over metallic paint, it's actually going to bring up the metallic paint. It's going to bring it right up. So you can't use chalk paint as your base coat, as your first coat. You need to use a water-based, this is what I use right here. So it's a latex paint, it's water-based. You don't want to use an oil base, you want to use a water-based primer. So latex, so that's what I use underneath all my metallic paints. Don't use chalk paint. You're going to have issues if you do with the metallics coming up. So this is the one that I buy. It's water-based. And then I do my paints. Now Modern Masters has lots and lots of different colors. They come in this little container, or they come in the huge container. So, and you can see they've got amazing colors. They've got, this is a really bright blue, isn't that beautiful? They have purples, they've got cranberry color, they've got lots of different golds. And this is a really dark gray. It's a beautiful gray that they have. Now, something else you also have to pay attention to is what it says on the side here. So you can see that says sheer. So that really is sheer. So you don't want to go and paint your whole piece of furniture with one of the ones that says sheer on it. You want one that says opaque. So you can see here, this says opaque. And that one is okay to paint your whole piece with. Normally you need 2 coats. So if it says opaque, then you can go ahead and that can kind of be the paint you're using. This one also says opaque. It's really, they're really thick. You can see really thick paints, metallic paints. And this one, I think, semi-opaque. So it's a little bit thinner than the opaque one, but it still has pretty good coverage. So the one that you don't want to have, this one is not going to give you full coverage. It says sheer. So this is a good one to use maybe on top of something else. If you want some shimmer, you know, because you'll need to use a lot of coats if you use this as your main paint. So you're going to put on your metallic paint, and then you're going to seal it with this one here. This is the sealer for metallic paint. You can see here it says metallic paint. So this is the one I use on top of all my metallic paints. Now I'll tell you the other issue I had when I was using chalk paint as my base. What happens when I put my sealer, all the metallic paint came off and it went onto my paintbrush. So that's when I learned that you have to, I actually called the Modern Masters office and talked to them, and that's when they told me you have to use a water base, like a latex, underneath the metallic paint. And then this is the sealer that I use from them. You can actually use Annie Sloan chalk paint, the clear chalk paint. Annie Sloan wax if you are desperate. I have done that before on top of their paints, and it does actually work. But this was made for the metallic, so this is what you should use. Here's another one of their sealers I use, but this is not for metallic paint, so I don't use this on the metallics. I actually really like this sealer, and I use this sometimes on chalk paint. But this is not for the metallics. Use the one I just showed you that says metallic paint. And when I work with when I work with all the metallic paints, I don't use a natural bristle brush. I use these kind of paint brushes, like the normal latex kind, with the smooth, the ones that have the smooth synthetic brushes. They lay down the paint better than the natural bristle brushes. So these are the kinds of brushes that I use when I'm working with the metallic paints. So I think that covers it. I'll just show you too. And also when you're working with the metallics, let me scoot this down a bit. You don't want, when you're working with metallics, you don't want to go back and forth like this. You want to try to go one way when you're working with the metallics. So this is the primer that's on there right now, the Kiehl's latex. And you can see it, the silver has very good coverage. And this is just the first coat, so I will be putting on 2 coats. So just try not to go back and forth. Try to go one direction. Isn't that a beautiful silver? I just love this silver. And I'll come back later and do these sides. I just wanted to show you guys how to lay down this paint. And once I'm done this drawer, I'll go back and kind of feather, do a last little coat. So just go in one direction. So I'm just lightly going over all of it now, really lightly. There. So that's the silver. You can see it's a beautiful, beautiful silver. It's a fantastic paint to work with, a fantastic company. There's probably quite a few now metallic paint companies, but I tend to stick to Modern Masters. So that explains the Modern Masters, and I hope you learned something today about it. All right, thanks.